Now to the White House, where moments ago President Trump spoke about Brett Kavanaugh. Let's listen in.
On his record, the FBI has, I think, gone through a process 6 times with him over the years where he went to higher and higher positions. He is somebody very special. At the same time, we want to go through a process. We want to make sure everything is perfect, everything is just right. I wish the Democrats could have done this a lot sooner because they had this information for many months. And they shouldn't have waited till literally the last days. They should have done it a lot sooner. But with all of that being said, we want to go through the process. One thing I will say is that, as I understand it, Judge Kavanaugh spent quite a bit of time with Senator Feinstein, and it wasn't even brought up at that meeting, and she had this information. So you would have thought certainly that she would have brought it up at the meeting, not wait till everything's finished and then have to start a process all over again. But with all of it being said, we want to go through a full process. I have great confidence in the U.S. Senate and in their procedures and what they're doing, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. They'll go through a process and hear everybody out. I think it's important. I believe they think it's important. But again, he is one of the great intellects and one of the finest people that anybody has known. You look at his references, I've never seen anything quite like it. So they'll go through that process and we'll get it done.
Should it be delayed?
I don't know. It depends on the process. I'd like to see a complete process. I'd like everybody to be very happy. Most importantly, I want the American people to be happy because they're getting somebody that is great. I want him to go in at the absolute highest level. And I think to do that, you have to go through this. If it takes a little delay, it'll take a little delay. It shouldn't certainly be very much. But again, this is something that should have been brought up long before this. They had the information in July, as I understand it. That's a long time ago, and nobody mentioned it until the other day. It's very unfortunate that they didn't mention it sooner. But with all of that being said, it will, I'm sure, work out very well. You're talking about an individual who is as high a quality individual as you'll ever see.
Are you meeting him today?
I have not spoken to Judge Kavanaugh.
Do you know if he's offered to withdraw from the process? Has he offered to withdraw?
Next question. What a ridiculous question that is.
Do you think his passport confirmation?
Say it?
Do you think his passport confirmation is on track?
Oh, I think he's on track, yeah. I mean, I think he's very much on track. If they delay it a little bit just to make sure everybody's happy, they want to be happy. I can tell you, the Republican senators want to be 100% happy themselves. They're doing it very, very professionally. Again, this should have been brought up a long time ago. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, you're going to see on China today, right after close of business, we'll be announcing something, and it will be a lot of money coming into the coffers of the United States of America, a lot of money coming in. But you'll be seeing what we're doing right after close of business today. The market's closing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And we just heard President Trump addressing the allegations against his Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, who was accused by a woman of having attacked her at a high school party 30 years ago. It now appears that President Trump is open to delaying the vote. He mentioned that if they delay it a little to make sure everyone is happy, ... He didn't seem to be against that idea. He did criticize the Democrats for not, quote, mentioning it sooner. CBS News Washington correspondent Paula Reed was in the room and joins us now from the White House. Paula, that was a pretty remarkable exchange with the president there. He does seem to be open to delaying the vote. He didn't say that in so many words, but he did say if it will make everyone happy, and sort of paused. Do you think it's possible they may delay the vote over this?
Absolutely. Here you saw the president embracing the process. Oftentimes he can be pretty combative, especially when we press him on something that's so important to his legacy and to his administration. One of the reasons he was elected was to appoint Supreme Court justices, and now you see one under siege. I think it's probably a bit too far to say his confirmation is in jeopardy, but when we press the president on whether or not he would be open to delaying the vote for some sort of process, for some sort of testimony, he wouldn't say yes, but he said it's depends. Let's see. He seemed very open to the idea. But of course, he also criticized Democrats. He said, look, this should have come out a long time ago. Democrats even met with Kavanaugh at certain points in this process and never brought this up. So he seemed clearly frustrated that it's coming up now. But he said he wants the American people to be happy. And he said, quote, if it takes a little delay, then it takes a little delay. At this point, we still don't know if that confirmation vote will be postponed or what kind of process there will be. But it was incredibly surprising for many of us in the room that the president was so open to this process, especially about something that is so important to him and his voters.
I agree. And again, as you said, Paula, he did criticize the Democrats, he said, for not bringing this up sooner. The allegations were known. But correct me if I'm wrong, the allegations may have been known, but the accuser did not come forward publicly until very recently.
That's right. She's only come forth publicly very recently, but in a long timeline of his confirmation hearing, he's arguing, he said, look, we knew about this in July. Why is this coming up right now? But he didn't really delve too deeply into any sort of partisan attacks. He just said, look, let the process play out. He seemed very subdued. We were in there with him probably for about 30 minutes. He was having a business roundtable. He was smiley. He was chatty. He was very calm. And when asked about this issue, he told me that he had not spoken with Judge Kavanaugh today. But again, he reiterated his credentials. He said he was, quote, one of the great intellects. He said he was just absolutely dazzled by all his recommendations. And it appears that some of this calm may come from a place of confidence that if you allow this process to play out, ultimately he will get his justice confirmed.
And he did say he was one of the finest people I have ever known. So he did defend him there. All right. Well, Paula Reed, thank you so much.